What is happening out there in YouTube land? Yours truly, Rockin' Dave, the real deal, North Fort Myers, Southwest Florida. We are out in our lanai. As you can hear, it's raining. We want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, first of all, and hope everyone is doing fine out there. As you might have seen on our last video we put up, last couple of videos, we were up in Tampa yesterday, first day of winter, at Busch Gardens. And actually it was our first time up there. A friend of mine from high school was down visiting, and well, he wanted to go there, and I said, well, we'll go up there as well. So we got the alligator that's there, Stubby the alligator, and the performance that we put up was, I just did a short take on it, and I had no idea what to expect. So I decided, okay, well, let's just go ahead and record it, you know, see how the camera's doing, because I've been having problems with the phone. We had to delete a lot of things off the phone. I mean, a lot, because of the problems I was having. So if anyone's channel is deleted off my channel, not on purpose. We had to delete a lot of apps off and then go through it as needed, you know, as needed. But yeah, so I just happened to be recording there, and I just zoomed in on the guitarist, and I figured, okay, let's go by the bass. I had no idea it was going to a solo, and bam, there she went, and it was awesome. It was totally awesome. So in my opinion, I got a little bit more videos we took of Busch Gardens. It's about actually a 3-hour drive from our house. We're straight up 75 we go, and it's probably about $150 cheaper than Disney, and of course a lot closer. And then if you go through AAA, which is what Deb did, you get I think it's called all day dining. So the restaurants that have that, they got like a little sticker, it'll say all day dining. You can eat all day for free. You can't beat that, man. And plus, you know, being Floridian residents, we do get discounts, which is great. Great to have. Let's see how we're doing. Okay, so I was watching Ed Dana's the rerun of his live stream. Ed, you're funny, man. Deb and I we love watching you, and especially with the Radio Shack. I remember Radio Shack when they would sell all their wireless stuff. Never really worked. Bumble Best, Southwest Florida it is, my friend. You got it. Hope all is well. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. For those who are drinking, Happy New Beer. I don't drink. So, I mean, it was cool checking out what Ed was talking about with Radio Shack. They always had a little bit of a niche with the little parts, you know, adapters, short cables, you know, stereo cables with one, you know, 1/8" plugs on the end. You go right in, back and forth. Merry ho ho ho! You got that right, buddy. And so that was pretty cool. But you know, I wanted Raymond. What is happening? Merry Christmas, my friend. Merry Christmas. I got my Warehouse T-shirt on. Warehouse Church, Aurora, Illinois. Hope everyone's having a nice Merry Christmas holiday. And of course it's raining behind us. Yeah, it was raining yesterday too. Well, it wasn't raining when we first got to the park because we actually got up in Tampa Friday night. And then we got the shuttle, which is actually our hotel right across the street was Busch Gardens, but it was on the backside. So we had to kind of go around about a mile, which would be equivalent of a mile, to get to the front entrance. And you know, the weather was nice. Like right now it's like 77 degrees, a little bit, very small humidity because of the rain. Yesterday was a lot cooler, and then it started to rain in the evening. And the thing that got me was I'm walking with my high school friend Jim, and you know, Deb and I were walking. I said, look, the roller coaster is still going, man. It's raining out and there's still people on the roller coaster. It was weird. See, back up in Illinois at Six Flags Great America, man, they'd shut that down. They says, hey, we ain't gonna take the chance. But yeah, if you get a chance to go to Busch Gardens, you'll like it. I guarantee you'll like it. As you walk in, the rides are actually, you'll be going and then the rides will come across, and underneath you'll kind of walk over like a tunnel where the roller coaster goes. I mean, it's just all over the place, man. Yeah. Yeah, raindrops like, yeah, it is. So it was a lot of fun. It was definitely a lot of fun. And I always bring the guitar with me. Go over some material. I brought the little amp, but you know, we were out all day yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to really plug in and do what I wanted to do. But hey, I was always able to go over my chops, my scales, man. And but anyways, I didn't watch the video, but I saw I guess Tim Pierce has got a video out. Black Country Blues, what is happening? Thank you so much, my friend. And Merry Christmas. I was going to actually record something with my classical guitar, but the rain was too loud. You wouldn't be able to hear it. I was going to do a which I've done in the past, a version of Jim Fergal, Merry Christmas, man. No, this is not our first Christmas in Florida. This is actually would be our third, because we got down here in July of 2017. So after Hurricane Irma scared the bejesus out of us, then we got through Christmas 2017, 2018, and now 2019. But it still takes, hey, Guitar Meets Science, what is happening? Merry Christmas, my friend. Love that video you did with like the Hendrix inspired rhythms. That was badass, man. That was badass. Love those type of rhythms, man. But no, it takes a while to get used to it down here because, you know, we're so used to snow and ice all our lives, man. And our first Christmas down here, it's like everything's green, man. It's like always June, July, and August, June, July, and August, June, July, and August, you know. We're not complaining because we don't have to shovel snow or anything like that, man. Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome. Guitar Meets Science, yeah. Sounded badass, man. Watchman for you, what is happening? Merry Christmas. I figured I wanted to check, see if I could still go live. I cleaned out a lot of apps off my phone because I was having some problems with it. I mean, it was just acting weird, man. But anyways, like I was going to say with Tim Pierce having the video about, is guitar relevant in music anymore? And, it always will be, but it's always going to be on the subjective side. Because what I've noticed that no one seems to talk about, and maybe they never thought about this, so it's not a bad thing to anybody, but, how many of you remember, those of you who are older than me, much older than me, would remember this, the big band era. When the big band era was just going strong. And you go out to nightclubs, of course, that's when days when people would dress up in a suit and tie, they'd take the ladies out, the ladies were always in a dress, and they'd go out and they had, Glenn Miller, big band, and, a whole bunch of others, and, you had all this stuff going on that required, a full, no less than maybe a 7-piece band. And that was it. And then in the 50s, here comes rock and roll, and it didn't take long for it to get, kind of knocked out of the box. And then here comes the 60s, and then what was called the acid rock. And then that kind of knocked out the 50s rock and roll. And then, of course, everything evolved into hard rock and into metal. And everything just kept evolving and changing. And that's what we're really experiencing. And then, the pop music culture got involved in that, and then they would change. They'd try to go with the times and change here and change there. So you're seeing the evolution of music before, that's what we're seeing before our eyes. Big band will always be popular for those who have their specialty. Want to see big band. It's not in the forefront like it used to be, but neither is guitar music like it once was. So it's not so much is it like gone, period. That's it. The end is here. And you got far more guitar manufacturers now than we ever did when I started playing. That's just how it is. And you have more young kids playing guitar on, yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody, Watchman. You got it, brother. You have far more kids playing guitar. You always had kids playing guitar. And everything that you see on YouTube, you can see some 12-year-old playing, shredding, virtuosos. You always had young virtuosos. What you did not have is the media covering them. That's what you didn't have. So this is nothing new. You actually had more of a strong virtuosos before high-gain amps, and of course it would always be in either jazz or in the classical realm, because there's a lot more training that's involved. Whether you're formally trained or you're just self-disciplined and you just love that style of music and you really discipline yourself enough to get those chops as clean as possible, not just for the sake of shredding, but just sounding good. So you always had that. But the deal is that you're always going to have styles of music come and go, and there's going to come a time, my friends, when rap is going to have its day. Rap and hip-hop is going to be old, just like disco became old. And then things always come back in cycles. That's just how it is. So right now is a perfect time to do your own thing. It really is. The funny thing is, about a week ago, I was downtown Fort Myers. I might have said this in one of my last live streams. And I was talking to one of the club owners downtown Fort Myers, and he was saying about how tough it is with the performance rights, paying for bands to play covers. And it's gotten to the point where they come out, they've done this before. One of our last shows in Illinois, the club owner asked us if we had our own music because BMI sent out a representative. Oh, wow. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, music will change like every 10 to 15 years. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And it just keeps evolving. It keeps changing. Add things, doesn't add things, take things away, doesn't take things away. We didn't have as many manufacturers trying to come out with, flooding the market with all kind of stuff, That's what we've been seeing. And it gets to the point where, okay, these manufacturers, if they do not have another sector within their company, this is why Yamaha is really smart, because Yamaha is a huge, huge corporation. Whether you like the company or you don't like the company, that's the reality. We got Yamaha boats down here, motors up north. You got the snowmobiles, you got the jet skis. I mean, they're all over the place. So you have to have that. So you have one sector of a company to help float this sector. So when times are tough, because music is always a want, it's not really a need. That's how it is, and there's so much stuff that's out there. It's unreal. As far as musical equipment, and good stuff at a cheap price too. Really good stuff that we never had. That I'll tell you what, man, it makes you think before you spend a lot of money on anything expensive. And I'm not trying to knock, high-end volume and tone pots and woods and this and that. But as a performer, your main thing is going to be, even over your sound, man, is going to be how well that instrument can stay in tune. When we watched this guy last night, he was playing a white Gibson Studio Les Paul, and he wasn't really doing a whole lot of bends and a whole lot of aggressive playing, because he's a really good guitarist. He's fitting the whole show. But between every song, I noticed he was going between his G and his B string, making sure it's tuned. And even if you pay $1,000 for a guitar and you're having problems with tuning, man, and you're doing a show, that's what I mean. This thing, we got a Gibson Les Paul, and we got the Epiphone, the exact same Epiphone version of what this guy had on his Gibson. But the point is that it stays in tune. So my point is, this guitar really stays in tune. More so than tone, if it's got to be to the tuning stability. You could have the best pickups, best pots, best this, best tone, best effects, but if it doesn't stay in tune, you're screwed. You are screwed. So, that's just how that is. But yeah, it was interesting seeing how things always change. Zip Fix Guitars, what is happening, brother? What is happening? Now see, Zip Fix, you know a lot about what's good, what isn't good. You know what I mean? Yeah, is your Epiphone as good as your Gibson? Tuning wise, yeah. Tuning wise, I think it's better. I mean, it's almost embarrassing. Now, it could be a situation with the nut. I did fall during one of the performances with the Gibson. I do have a little issue with the electronics. It really could be considered minor, but it's the fact you spend $2,000 and there's no issues with this, and I've dropped this. And as far as the quality between this and the Gibson, yeah, the Gibson is just, man, primo. Just like a lot of the Paul Reed Smith guitars are primo. But as a performer, when I talk on the subject, I don't talk about construction as much as I talk about reliability as a performer. Because I'm not really a collector, even though we've got a few guitars. And I'm not in it for the craftsman, although I highly respect the craftsman. Oh yeah, my Epiphones are better than, you got that right, Zip Fix. Yeah, and isn't that something? And of course, you know, because you come from the days when Gibson came out of Kalamazoo, and before some of the guys left and formed the Heritage Guitar Company, and Gibson will always be the name that everyone kind of does look up to. It has it's an iconic brand. It's just a little slippage here and there in the QC control, department. And that could happen with any brand and any company, But it's when you're spending this kind of money and you have issues. It's going to piss people off. That's just the way it is, And Epiphone has been doing a really good job at pumping out great guitars that you know you can rely on. See, as a performer, all it takes is a few incidences, and you could have a whole lineup of guitars, and you could have your high-end guitars though in this section right here. But if you know they've been giving you a little bit of trouble, and you got your lower budget ones that you know you can rely on, you could go for those lower budget ones. You know, that's the reality. Yep. And 57, 30 years of playing. Yep. You're a year older than me, Zipfix. Yeah, 30 years playing. Very few fixing I've done. I mean, I've changed out a pickup. When Ed Dana was talking about the DiMaggio, it was called a dual sound pickup. But at the same time, I did the same thing on my Ibanez Artist. But I started playing guitar in 74 and I never stopped, so it's like 45 years. And you learn real quick what's more important. You really do. I never spend that much on one guitar, no matter how much money I had. You know what? Yeah, you're smart. Yeah, you're real. Yeah, you're real smart. Yeah, you know, I'll tell you what. I gotta check some more of your videos out, Zipfix. I've been like really busy with preparing these shows because we're good. As you might know, we're switching gears from hitting all these clubs. You know, we've already done over 200 gigs since we've been here, and we hit it real hard. And with the covers scene and that, I don't disrespect people who play covers. I mean, I think it's great, but you know, if you're a creative person, you want to do your own thing. And when I've so many times I've had people tell me, no, people want to only hear covers. No, people want to do this. People want to do that. People are going to want to do what they want to do, whether you're playing a cover or you're not playing a cover. But if you promote a show as a very specific show, then it becomes a little different. And you might be in the very beginning stages taking a chance, but then if you have enough money and you're funding it yourself, here's the beauty part of it. When you fund your own show yourself, dude, 157, how are you, man? Thank you for tuning in. Merry Christmas. When you fund things yourself, there's nobody anything can tell you because they're not throwing their money at it. And they could give you advice, they could say what they think, and that's all welcome advice. So that's not, you know, meant to offend anybody or anything like that. But I've had so many times people tell me, no, you can't this, no, you have to do this, no, you have to do this. And we've done it when we did the ticket sales up north. And just to give you an idea, there's quite a few times, not just one time, but quite a few times, where we would sell something like 275 tickets at $35 a pop. So just do the math right there. Just do the math right there. Every show that we've done that we've got hired out to, all our road shows we've done and playing over in Europe, wasn't done because of covers. It was simply done because they liked the style of music I played. That's it. And it doesn't mean I'm better than anybody, because I'm not. But I try to give the advice for people who maybe are in the same situation I am, that they're so burned out from doing covers, they just can't stand to go out. You know, here's the deal. When Friday night's gig is coming up, and gee, you wish you could stay home, you and the missus could stay home and watch something together, as opposed to going out playing, that says it all right there. Because that means you got to go out there, you have to deal with some drunk people that you don't want to deal with, you know, maybe. Play music you really, deep down in your heart, you don't like. Now, all the stuff we done with Mike was great. And Mike, I wanted Mike to pick more of the songs because I wanted to work for his voice. I never wanted to put him in a situation where he's got to struggle and sing, feel something that he's not comfortable with. Because when you have a vocalist, that's the main instrument. I'm secondary. But his voice is main. So you always try to think in terms like, what's better for the show, you know? Yeah, I get Gibsons, yeah, in a bag in 4 pieces, yeah. You'll have it playing in a week. See, that's great, man. I'll tell you what, Zipfix, you got a very, very cool niche. And I don't mean to call it like a niche, but you have something that is a need for musicians. You have an 89 Gibson Explorer. The neck was in 8 pieces. It's ready. Oh. It's ready for spin. Oh, nice. There's a lot that goes involved in guitar work. Luthiers, guitar work, guitar maintenance. You know, you get some gigs working on guitars for people that are even cover bands, if you want, or high-end tributes. You know, I think ZipFix, I forgot where exactly you're located at, because I think you said something on Dana's channel. I think, are you up in Rhode Island, or? Because anybody with your type of talent, well, of course, you know. There's nothing I could say, yeah, that you don't know, man. Yeah, toothpicks together. No, I don't think so, man. Gluing toothpicks together ain't gonna work. You gotta have patience. Oh, you're a finished carpenter. You see, there you go. You'd be real surprised. You'd be real... Dwight Bailey, Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for tuning in. I just wanted to give a kind of a quick live chat to see if I'd get any signal. It's raining down here. But yeah, you'd be real surprised. You'd be real surprised what a lot of musicians have to go through, even the ones that are established. A lot of them, if it wasn't for their wife working, man, their better half, their spouse, or whatever, they'd be kind of hurting. They'd be really kind of hurting. That's why you got to... See, this is where it's tough. If you're a guitarist that you can play other instruments, I can play a little keyboards. If I wanted to, I could just really zoom in on it. Once you know the tuning of an instrument, then you start working on the techniques behind it, and you just practice a lot of the techniques, and listen to a lot of that kind of music that has that instrument in there. You'll start to pick up. It'll start to evolve. I could definitely play bass because I lay down a lot of the bass tracks. And when I do stuff live with the bass simulator, either on the Digitech or on the guitar synth, that's one thing. But a lot of the CDs, I lay down the bass track using Deb's. She's got a BC Rich Warlock bass. So, I mean, I know I could join some of these bands. There's only 52 weekends in a year. What sucks today, you have to look better than you can play. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of truth in that. However, there is certain areas that are like tourist spots that, like down here we got a lot of seniors, as you know. That's why Florida is also known as God's waiting room. Got a lot of seniors. This in this subdivision we live in, it's a 55 plus community, and there's people drive their Harleys back and forth, and you know what? They still want to hang on to their youth. And one of the CDs I saw in the clubhouse that you could just rent out. You know, people are donating their CDs. And the funny thing is, you know, you're gonna have your Barbra Streisands and, you know, it's a lot of the country stuff down here as well. But then you see Dokken, you see maybe Judas Priest or something, and you think about it, a lot of that stuff is already old. Ozzy Osbourne, I think, is 71 years old. You know, he's not mellowing out. So we do have a community that wants to rock out a little. So with us doing this guitar show, that Jim Guidry, Merry Christmas, man. Good seeing you, brother. We were up in Tampa, so you might have seen the video, huh? I got a few more. It was like this. Well, now it's raining heavily, but it was not as heavy. But in the evening, it was raining last night, and we're walking through Busch Gardens. And the roller coaster is still going, and people are still on it. It was like, it blew my mind, man. A lot of that is popular down here too. It's a lot of blues-based playing, fusion, mixed with rock. You know, mixing everything up. So that's how we're selling this guitar show, as a guitar show. And you know, we're not trying to, you know, I'm not saying we don't want to pack a house, but we're not going to get disappointed and start going in a direction. What do you want to hear? What do you want to hear? We're going to let this whole thing evolve. Because again, we're advertising it specifically as a guitar show. If you want to see a tribute band or a cover band, they're all over the place. You don't need another one. You really don't. So by doing something like this, I'm watching you. Wait, our cat, you know, he's over here. He's up to something. They're always up to something. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. I gotta see what this guy's up to. Mischievous. Unreal. So anyways, you know, it was about a few weeks, maybe a few months ago, I don't want to say a few months ago, maybe a couple months ago, you know, you lose track of time, you're always going. We were at Guitar Center and I was doing a little bit of research and I noticed everyone in Guitar Center at this time of day, they're like 50 plus and they're all jamming out. So I talked with a couple of guys there and I said, hey, what would you guys think about if you had an opportunity to go to a guitar show, you know, like a small mini concert where it's guitar music and, you know, a little bit mix of styles, but it's just specifically guitar music, instrumental guitar music, and if it was like done on a Saturday afternoon, what would you think? And a lot of these guys are saying, well, we never heard of anyone down here doing something like that, but if we want to see something like that, yeah, we would, because there's two things I noticed. A lot of older people, and even, well, people our age, I guess we're older. I don't like to say that, but I guess we're older. Would you rather go out, like right now, on a Saturday night, to a place that you don't know what's going to happen, you know? Unless it's a specific band you want to see, or would you want to do something in the afternoon that if you want to do something later on that night you can, and it'd be a little more safer. A lot of people, they don't want to go out too much anymore like they did, and that's what this club owner was telling me at downtown Fort Myers. He said that they're starting to notice more and more people are just doing the carry-outs and taking their stuff home and partying home because of the DUI laws. That's another thing. And it's been hitting a lot of these clubs, and then some of them, they don't want to pay for the copyright performance, the performance rights. You know, he told me his annual fee now like $5,000. I'm like, you kidding? And then he's got his overhead and all this other crap. So things always change. So getting back to doing these shows, doing ticket sales, and would you like to come out and check it out? And he said, yeah. So we'll just see how all this works out for us. Raining something else, man. But when I saw the thing as if the Guitar Center sells Gibson seconds, yeah, a lot of high price crap. Now, I'm glad you mentioned this. Yeah, Flash Mob, Guitar Center, yeah, that's about it, Bumblebest. Back in 1983, Zipfix, I bought a Gibson Flying V. I bought it from Chicago Music Company when it was still open in Chicago. Can I ask, when you did that little bit of funky picking, I noticed you kept your picking, but you know, perpendicular to the strings. It might vary a little bit. I don't really. Well, first of all, I had people ask me, like when I do the speed burst, you know. One of my students back in Chicago actually thought I had my pick on sideways to make it easy. I said, no, I'm actually doing with the tip. When I do my rhythms, that's basically the same. It's kind of like this. So let me just go ahead and just see if I could just sit where you can see. Yeah, it's just basically, it's like a nice sweep with the tip. Sometimes I'll flare my fingers out for the ultra speed. But when I do my picking exercises, I usually don't do that. Yeah, I lose grip too. Yeah. Yeah. But part of it is, and I never really noticed it other than how my hand feels, because as a lot of you know, I'll go back and forth between playing pick style and finger pick style. Finger pick a lot of with the tremolos and the flamenco style. Yeah, max grip. I have a couple of max grip picks. I mean, I'm using a 1 millimeter. This is a 1 millimeter. This is a 1.5 Ernie ball. But you know, here's something that a lot of these guys try to say. Well, if you play with a, I mean, I will put a tip. I will, you know, shape my pick on the rug. I've been doing this since got 83 or something like that. Because that's the only way we could sharpen our picks, you know. But I mean, I've used picks that were 80 millimeter, 1 millimeter. You know, you get good at what you practice with. And when I hear these people, you know, they tell me they're using like a 3 millimeter, it's almost like a rock, and it's real small, and it's with a point, and that's the only. It's when they say that's the only way you're going to play fast. And like, no. The only way you're going to play fast is practice. But you see, it's more than just speed. It's playing solid. Having the notes really ring out. And that's being able to play solid like that is giving me the ability to like do these sudden stops. Yeah. Yeah, sweaty fingers when you play out. Yeah, that happens too. That happens too with me a lot, Fix. So I'll go back and forth. I used to use those, but when I was still doing construction work, I'd get, because I was doing, you know, HVAC, and when I would have to, and I was, you know, our sector was residential new construction, so we're putting all these new furnaces in. We have to do the, you know, the PVC pipe, and then you gotta have that purple primer, and a lot of times it gets stuck in between my fingernail and my flesh right there, and after a while it would like sting or burn. It was just really weird. So when I would play with those type of picks, it was just a pain in the ass. You know, so, but you really get good at what you practice, you know. And but you don't need anything special. You know, the best thing to do is do what's good for you. Like same with gear. Play the gear that really is good for you, that you really like. You don't have to go as high end as people think you do. It just has to work, and it has to be reliable. I mean, there is a saying, Janice Salala, what is happening? Merry Christmas. Thank you for tuning in. That's okay, Janice. You're always welcome here. Don't worry about that. You know, we're not on what the Nielsen system. You know, how many views you're getting. Or you put ads in. I don't care. It's not. I care about my friends. You know, my friends, my subscribers out there. But I'm not gonna go out and beg and, you know, plead everyone and, you know, pay everyone $1 to be my friend. No. This channel is organic. We don't, you know. And you know what? We do have a music company. R2, R3 Locking Room Up. Merry Christmas, my friend. Thank you for tuning in. Our music company in Illinois was Transacoustic Productions. Now it's Dave Byron LLC. So it is a business. Let me see if I can turn this light here. So I mean, if we wanted to, I mean, I guess I could start soliciting, you know, this, that, and the other. But we do make money off the internet, but I don't really rely on it. I don't think it'll take a long time for me to really trust it, and it's not on a bad term that I'm saying this. It's just that YouTube is always changing. Something's always going to change. So to me, when it's changing that drastically in short amounts of time, it's like, to me it's like unstable, you know. But when I go out there and gig, that's stable. You know, I could trust more on that than I can on the live, you know, the platform. So I just use this to, you know, promote myself and show people, you know, when you come out to the show, if you like it, that's fine. If not, that's no problem. I mean, there's nothing personal here. That's why my other channel, you'd see all these videos of me doing like these wedding songs and playing here, but because we were using that as that platform, you know, to connect business-wise, you know. So, but I don't, you know, go after, you know, I see some of these videos of people giving advice on how to make your channel grow, and that's fine if that is your goal. You know, would I like to see this channel grow? Yeah, but I want it to be honestly, because again, this is not my only source of income on YouTube. It's out there. That's why I'll say the things I say, and it's not meant to offend anybody, but when people want to tell me how something's going to work, and they got no proof, and they're putting it, I'm out there playing, and I could tell you exactly how it's going to work. You know, that's why I can't, you know, I don't rely on that. It's kind of hard for me to take someone's advice if they're not doing something, but they're going to tell me. They can have an opinion. Opinion's one thing, but a matter of fact advice, and they got no proof in the pudding. It's like someone that's never driven a car is going to tell you how to drive, right? But that's another subject for another time. Now, another thing that I haven't seen this, I saw snippets of it though. Everyone's now talking about this wireless system and that wireless system, and I didn't watch any of those videos, so I cannot comment on what was said. And they're more than welcome to have their opinion, and I will check them out to see what they sound like. But we have a couple of Sennheisers. I have a couple of Line 6. The Line 6 has no channel switching. We're going to look at another wireless system. I think it's called X5, U2, X5, something like that. Because it's angled, so when I plug it on my output jack, it's not going to pop or, you know, bend the output jack. So when I do the tricks with the guitar, it's not going to smash it. And it does have a channel selector. But I could tell you, the first Sennheiser we bought, it was something like $800, and it worked great. I mean, the range, it's meant for concerts. You go real far with that thing. The problem I had was during one of our shows that we did with Joe Stump, right in the middle of my performance, I thought I was having a problem, not with this guitar. I didn't have this guitar at the time, but I had a Laguna guitar, and I never had problems with it. And all of a sudden, I'm getting this, so I thought it was my output jack. And I don't use active batteries on the electrics. Everything's passive, so I don't need a battery. Well, I found out that as FCC was shutting everyone down using that frequency, and you couldn't change, even if you change the channels, you're still on that frequency. So we missed the email from Sennheiser that went out letting people know, hey, we'll give you a $50 credit if you buy another one of our units. The reason being is FCC is shutting down this portion of that channel or that bandwidth, so you're going to have to upgrade to another bandwidth. So you see, that's what I mean. That happened right in the middle of a show. It also happened just last summer with my Line 6. It started going out. And Mike thought, well, Dave, maybe you threw the guitar and it came down and it hit and bent the thing, because that's happened before. No, I didn't even throw the guitar. I'm standing right in front of my transmitter. There's a speaker there, and as I'm just playing it clean with a clean sound, it was cutting in and out. So Now right there is the middle position. I do like the way the Gibson sounds still in the middle position. For certain jazzy type of things, yeah, it sounds great. What I do like about our Les Paul is we could do the out of phase. See, I remember the big selector switch that a lot of the Gibsons had back in the day. Oh, but what I was going to say is that when you said about the second, I bought a Flying V that had stamped on the back of the headstock, second. This was back in 1983. The guitar was fine. I guess there was a blemish somewhere. But then I did shaded it in, you know. Yeah, oh yeah. And Page used it. Yeah, great effect, the middle position. Yeah, I do like, you do get a certain tone. And I've had the Ibanez Artist. That was my first good guitar, and I miss it a lot. With the two tri-sound switches and the three-way toggle switch, had amazing tones. But there's something with the Gibson. Maybe it's the way they, they wind their pickups, and just the way that they construct things. It has that certain tone where you could get that. Whether it's out of phase, that's the cool effect, but even the non-out of phase, you just get that certain tone that you can't, I don't really get out of this. But out of the Gibson, yeah. Yeah, no problem, Jim. Merry Christmas, man. Hope all's well with the family, and we'll connect when the time allows it. And I can't believe Wednesday it's gonna be Christmas already, man. Yeah. Now another thing you do with the Gibson and any guitar that's got two volumes and two tones, you could do a lot of altering with those tones that you cannot do with just a single volume and tone. However, if you have your pickup selector in the middle and you want a blend of the two to come up volume-wise evenly, that's where the single volume comes up. And what I mean by that is, so if I crank, because I'm using a little Yamaha amp here, and if I take my volume down here, it'll do a little bit because these pots are not all that great, but with good volume pots, when you roll up the volume, it's like the amp is opening up, especially when you have the amp on overdrive. Yeah, listen to that rain, man. Pretty loud. But other than that, this has been a pretty reliable guitar. It's too bad that I might sound crazy, other than a Steinberger, but it's too bad this hardtail bridge didn't have something that could kind of lock these strings back here, so you only have like maybe about a less than a 1/4 inch break, in the angle, 90-degree angle, because if you got a real strong picking hand and you're doing rhythms like this one, that's usually where I'll pop strings because of my hand. And my theory is, when you got between the saddle and the ball end, if you got about that much space, you got a lot of room that's doing this, and it's going to cut into that. I could be wrong, but it's always that same spot will outbreak strings. So let's see, 157. If it's a Gibson LTD clone, yeah, I'd say it's the same. Yeah, the picking, yeah. Now, I love the way you do your picking, Guitar Meets Science, because you do it real similar. Now, I don't do this only because when I'm playing classical or flamenco style guitar, I've just done this for, I mean, years and years and years, decades, where it's just this constant. I do it much better on a nylon string. So it's definitely, it's not that I couldn't develop it, it's just that that's more my natural way of playing. Not really the finger picking is. Yeah, kind of like Malagueña, Astorias Leyenda. But with the picking, it was something I had to really develop, my alternate picking, so I spent a lot of time with it. Because as you know, they show you this, I don't know why they show you this, they always show you a blues scale in the 5th fret position. And everything is down, 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 down with the right hand picking, or with your picking hand, down, down, down. Even when you look at method books and stuff, when you look at method books and they're teaching you how to read music, and they teach you all the quarter notes, you ever notice check out Guitar Meets Science. Check out his channel, man. He's a great guitarist. Great guitarist. You know, when they teach quarter notes, the symbol of down picking is like, you know, the staples, you know? Down, 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 down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down, 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 down. They don't show you the upstroke, which the symbol would be like a V for picking upwards. They don't show you that until they're going to have you do quarter notes. So your your eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, I can understand that for the sake of counting, but it is the worst technique to show anybody coming right out the gate. There is no reason. I've done this a lot of times. Well, you're welcome, Guitar Meets Science. You're definitely welcome. When I would teach people in reading music, you know, quarter notes, I would teach them 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's always a down, up, down, up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Because you got to get used to this. Even if you don't want to play fast, just for the sake of having the coordination to play very fluid. Very, very fluidly, very smoothly. Because if you think about it, when you learned how to walk, you don't hop around on one leg. You're alternating. The same way with finger picking. If you're going to do, let's say, it's going to make more sense to do this. If you're going to do finger style blues, right? Or just play with your fingers, not a pick. And we just take a basic, pentatonic scale, 5th fret. For some reason, it's always 5th fret. You don't have to, but anyways. So if it doesn't make sense to do index, middle, because you're playing 2 notes per string. So that means you're plucking that string twice to play those 2 notes. So does it make sense? 1, 2, 3, 4, you know? It's common sense. Now, because of tremolo picking, which is this, that's what got me used to my fingers doing, when I play scale runs, 3 notes per string, I'm using my index, middle, and ring finger. A little bit different on steel strings, you know. I remember one time I grabbed my friend's bass and I just started playing these runs, and you couldn't believe it. It's because of this, the bass strings being spaced that far apart from each other, and just having that room just to just let the fingers go, you know. But everything is what you want to build up on, you know. And that's the unique thing about playing a guitar, is that if you do something that's gonna fit your particular playing style, the way your body's shaped, the way your hands and fingers are shaped, You could develop your own technique and your own sound. And that's really the beauty of it. Yeah, you know, it's something. Everything that I've done is out of my own ignorance, and I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to knock myself or anything, but it truly is, because I only had lessons in grade school, so everything else is what my perception of what I thought it was. And I remember, you know, growing up in Chicago, you had the blues clubs here, you had some of the jazz clubs here, and of course further downtown Chicago, you had all, you know, stuff all over the place. But I remember at this place called the Piano Man, which was down the street from my house. It was on Clark and Gray Street. You had a guy, Herb Walker and Friends, play there. And all I remember is looking at the window. I was underage, I couldn't get in. So I'm looking at through outside, literally standing outside, looking through the window. And he was playing a PV, I think a PV Triumph 60 amp. Because I remember watching the tubes blow, and I could read a little bit, and I could tell what the amp shape was because I've seen him so many times in Chicago Music Company. But anyways, I'm watching this guy play, and I'm hearing these, like, I don't know at the time, they were a major 7th chord. Between major and minor 7th chords. Well, when I saw, and let's see if I could do this so you could see exactly what I saw. So when I saw him do this, have his thumb over here, and then it took a while for me to figure this out, and then I figured out, well, he's got to be playing a chord that, for leverage sake, his fingers are up here, his thumb is up here. But when he played a minor 7th chord or a minor chord, it went like this, you know, for leverage. And it's something that I also do. You know, if you don't have really big, long fingers, you got to come up with ways that's going to be easy for you. So when he went to a major 7th chord, where the root note was on the A, I still saw this. Plus, I heard the bass guitar doing this. But minus those little added notes. The very first note was this root. Da, da. So I heard an A, a C sharp, and then a D. So every time he'd play that chord, I hear that bass. So I was able, over the course of time, I was able to put 2 and 2 together and figure things out. And then just this constant, man, drilling, and just, I was obsessed with it. Because what helped me was I don't ever remember things being too hard. Now, obviously, Pooh Ninja, what's happening, man? Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, man. But I remember when you step outside of something that's harder, yeah, the technique's a little bit harder than that. But I think maybe what happened with me is that listening to music all the time, and when my dad would play motion picture soundtrack, you're hearing an orchestra, so you're hearing all these instruments, and when you're listening to it over a course of time, you're able to hear, okay, I hear a violin section here, a horn section here, you know, contrabass here. You're hearing all these things, and over just constantly listening to it, it just takes time. But you're hearing, your sense of ear training develops, and you don't realize it. And then when you hear rock bands, you know, you start to, the thing that throws you off is the distortion. But then you start figuring out, it almost sounds like a bunch of cellos. So everything just evolves. That's what, to me, was what it would sound like. But that's how I was able to develop. And then, of course, when I heard Al Di Meola play for the first time, it blew my mind because I knew it wasn't tricks. You know, Eddie Van Halen's Eruption was very impressive. But now that I look back at it, everything was impressive. Rolling Stones, Get Your Yayas Out, that was cool. Anything that had guitar was cool. Ted Nugent was real good because he was a very solid player. And when you're young and you're trying to develop technique, and you know, and you're fortunate enough to grow up in a time where that was considered cool. Now, you know, it's like you're an old man if you pick up a guitar and plug it in. For some of these kids, you're considered old. You know what I mean? Yeah, Ted Nugent, he was just pretty wild. He never drank. I mean, he never did drugs. I mean, sure, he drank, but he stayed away. He kept a clear head, you know. And honestly, that's what it takes. And then, you know, again, growing up in Chicago, watching the blues musicians play and getting together, doing all these jam sessions. You know, a lot of these guys will tell you it's not that they disrespect music theory. Let's see, Ted Music and yeah. Oh yeah, and he played those Berglund guitars, you know, big old hollow body. Crank up those Fender Twins. You crank up those Fender Twins, man, they're loud. They are extremely loud. But you know, a lot of the blues guys would say, you know, it's not that they disrespect the music theory part of it. It's just that they don't understand it, and then people they would get to the point where they felt like they were being talked down to, but they could play, they could make music, you know. And again, it's how you approach things. And what do you hear inside your head that you want to transmit out to the speaker, you know? Now, when I am playing with, you know, different instruments, keyboards, and maybe a horn section or whatever, I'll take a different approach. Because if everything sounds busy, I was like, okay, this needs to stand out, so I might not do a fast chop. I might just do something like this, and let it ring out as a whole note, so that the other instruments could fill that gap. And because if I'm constantly doing this, now there's sound, and that's another element that's just sucking up sound from this instrument, you know. So yeah, practice amp. This is a little Yamaha. Little THR10C. This is a little black one. This is like more of the classic amp sound. So a lot of it is based off analog. It doesn't, I mean, it's got an okay distortion on it, but it's not high gain. It's not meant for that. You know? The new versions of these that just came out, it's just that one model that has a switch that'll take you from classic, boutique, and modern. So I'll be interested to see exactly how that would compare to this one. I'll tell you what, man, this blows away stuff that when I started out playing with, we didn't have anything like this. So another thing that we've been checking out a lot on YouTube, and we've mentioned this before, and I'm sure you've seen some of our live videos where we've gone to RV shows and checking out some of the RVs, toy haulers, some fifth wheels, C-classes, super C-classes, travel trailers. Because when we were traveling heavily, yeah, it is a great little sounding amp, man. I only got paid $99 for this thing. Well, I traded a couple of pedals. Actually, I sold a couple of pedals in the parking lot at Guitar Center and had 20 extra bucks. For $80, 2 pedals. Couldn't believe it, man. Older DOD, American-made DOD pedals. But what I was going to say is, we were doing so much travel that, you know, you either sleep in, this is how it really is, man. You sleep in your car, you might be at the rest area, mostly the truck stops. And it's because we had so many shows, but some of them were not always back to back, but some of them were. Is that like phase effect on? Yeah, it is. And it's more of a, I have it to setting lower, and with this particular model amp, let's see if I can. It is geared more to what would be like the classic 70s sound. So you have analog tape delay in here. I don't think you have much of a digital delay in here. You have digital reverb, hall reverb, chorus, phase, can't remember what else I got in here. Because some of the effects they're okay, but I don't really use them that much. The phase shifter sounds pretty cool. But yeah, that rain sounds, yeah, because it's real rain. It's really raining down here. Yeah, what's nice with these amps, you have another section that if you plug the bass guitar in, it'll change the EQ setting for bass or acoustic guitar. And then that's the acoustic guitar is like the second one, the bass is the first, acoustic is the second, after you get through the amp models. And then you got one called flat response that I think overrides the EQ. You still could use the reverb, but what that's for is if you want a drum machine or keyboard, or, and I haven't tried this yet, if you're having a multi-effects processor that you like those sounds, you could plug that in here and take that switch to the flat response, and now you're just overriding the amp's EQ. So all you're doing, and the amp's amp simulators, so you're just basically using the power section, volume, and the volume of the power section, and a little bit of reverb. So that's pretty nice. I've got it running on batteries right now, and it does have the USB port. So let's see. Yeah, it does. It thickens up the chords, and the rain helps too. Yeah, it does. Yeah, Florida is. It's weird. So yesterday's the first day of winter, and I was in my shorts and that, but I did get a little cold. I mean, I gotta admit, it was very, very damp because it was raining and we were getting wet. But getting back to like these RV shows and watching a lot of the RV videos, Randy Tritt, God bless you, man. Merry Christmas, brother. Thank you for tuning in. The RV shows, the reason why we check those out is because, we do want to get an RV, and do a lot of traveling. And as a musician, or just as RV camping, full-time RVing. There's a lot of people, you'd be surprised, doing that. But no one's doing from a musician's point of view. So that's something that we will definitely be doing. But we do a lot of research on it. And when you do a lot of traveling as a musician, and if you do a full-time RV, or get rid of the house, there's a lot of channels we subscribe to where people have done that. One of them in particular called Exploring the Local Life. Family out there, 2 young kids, a dog and a cat, I think they got. And they're full-time living in their RV trailer and just travel. But see, they're smart because they'll go and stay in one spot for a few months, and then they'll go to another spot and they coordinate everything with their work schedule. They're not burning themselves out. And they have a travel trailer versus a heavy fifth wheel that you got to have a big truck to pull. You got to be careful. You got to be real careful. You have your dry weight and you have your gross weight, and you pack all this stuff in that RV. And if you think your truck's going to pull that, and you go cross country, and you go through the mountains in Colorado, you're going to find out real quick. Real quick. How steep those hills are and those mountains are. We never done it with an RV, but we've definitely, when we did our shows in Arizona and New Mexico, drove through the Rocky Mountains, and I'll tell you what, man, there's certain areas you're like this coming up and like that going down, and you got to be careful. Even coming down here, going through the Smoky Mountains, you're going to have certain things you just got to be aware of. So now, as musicians, this is where you got to start to weed out what's more important, what's my most expensive gear. Even if you're not going to do the RV, if you're going to travel as a musician, you got to always take in consideration your most valuable piece of gear is your vehicle. And that means your tire rotations, your oil change, because you start going cross country and you start eyeballing that expensive guitar or amp more so than saying, hey, I got the gear I need, I'm alright, I could wait on that. And you start buying on impulse and start neglecting your vehicle It's very easy to get stranded out there, and there's certain spots out in Arizona that, man, you're in the desert, and at nighttime you don't realize it until you have to drive through that same area during the day, and you look and there's nothing but dirt and mountains, and you're driving miles and miles and miles before you see a little riggedy-raggedy gas station. And some of the areas you don't get no cell service, so if you're stuck out there, and it gets cold out there at nighttime, you'd be surprised. Yeah, so yeah. Another good thing, I'll tell you what, like with toy haulers, you pop that ramp, they got them where you can pull that ramp up and you can make like a little patio. But if you're creative, you could turn that patio into a little stage, and you could start setting up your own shows and, you know, charging money. There's all kind of ways, man. There's all kind of ways that you could do this. But yeah, you could definitely hear the rain. So yeah, so what do you guys and gals out there think about in your area? If someone presented to you a guitar show, strictly just a guitar show, as a performance, would you guys like be willing to pay like $12 to watch someone play just guitar music? You know, buy tickets for like $12, as opposed to watching yet another cover band that you might have seen a million times before. You know? Because if the answer is, hey, I wouldn't mind that. You know, I think this has happened everywhere with the cover bands, and God bless them all, so it's not to say anything bad about any of them. But at some point, after you see so many of them, it's like it starts becoming the same old, same old, same old. That's why some of these places, you might realize, you might start to see they'll have trivia night. Yeah, your area is primarily country. Okay, so let's say if you had a country band come play, it's just guitar music, but country. See, it doesn't really matter the style. See, the problem is people will think, okay, if you mention a guitar show, it's always got to be a shred guitar show. No. Just where even though if it's instrumental music, and if you're a big guitar fan, or even if you're not a big country fan, but let's say you just love instrumental guitar, I'm sure you do have friends that like the same way. You know, the same way, like the same thing. So that kind of does help musicians like myself who are out there who want to we have a certain thing that we like to do, and we do not want to try to please everybody. And I know that sounds very, very strange, but we have another source of income coming in, so that helps us to be able to focus and do exactly what we would like to do without feeling like we got to rely on it. Because I'm going to tell you guys, you know, it's very, very, it's a lot of fun. Full-time musician, it's a lot of fun, but it becomes it can be very stressful because it's such a fluctuating income. You are constantly on that phone selling yourself. And it doesn't matter how good you are or how demanding you might be. I mean, that does help. But at some point, if you're constantly playing every weekend at the same place, you could hit a burnout. You know? See, yeah, you saw Generation X, but it only sold, a third of the house. Yeah. It only sold a third of the house. Now, and a lot of them, if you notice, they're smaller theaters. They're not like big arenas. It is a different time we live in. But now, how much did you have to pay for those tickets? I think it would do well. We're a devoted bunch. I think with the spin. Yeah, You see, now that's something guitar meets science. It gets, yeah, cultural event meaning that it'll draw out more than just players. Yeah. Oh, you paid 20. So yeah, I think this is Poo Ninja. You mentioned you paid $20. But yeah, you paid $20. Okay. And you only saw it a third. So you see, now, okay, Generation X, I believe you had Steve Vai, Yngwie, you might have had Zach Wild, I forget, I don't know, I forget, Nuno Betancourt. You might have had the guy, Toshi, I can't pronounce his last name, from Animals as Leaders there. And you might have their management that's throwing money at this, and they're renting out the places, and they want to see how much of a profit they're going to turn. What day of the week did you see that show? Was it more of a during the week, and was it more toward earlier during the week? Because a lot of these places, these venues, they'll mostly have entertainment like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, maybe Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But during the earlier in the week, they might not have anything. So, and then it depends on what time of where exactly. If you live in a tourist state, and if you have like down here, we got the snowbirds. Summertime, it gets, yeah. Oh, you saw it on a Friday. Yeah, Toastin. Yeah, that's right. And on a Friday. And see, that's kind of tough. You see, that right there is like, okay, did they break even on that particular show? Because now when they're traveling, maybe the next town they're going to, they might play on a Tuesday. So what happens is, you know, depending on how long that tour is, all the promoters, they try to do the research. Okay, where are we going to do the best in whatever area? And sometimes it's a hit or miss. Sometimes you're taking a gamble. Because like you said, only a third of the house. Yeah. And then you got into the factor of, okay, what time was it? Usually these shows are kind of early though. You might start doing 8 to 10. It's not like a 9 to 1 o'clock in the morning. That's usually what the cover bands will do. But part of it is some people got older, some people they can't find a babysitter. But now this kind of music and a lot of these people, this is becoming grandpa music. You think about it. Because a lot of the people now, their kids are grown, or maybe they got to watch their grandkids. You know, who knows? But see, a lot of it is the shift in the interest. But here is, I hope this doesn't sound, you know, a little bit too far-fetched. But think about it: when you're not at those levels, and you're not trying to maintain that lifestyle, or if you put yourself in a higher, you know, bracket, spending-wise. And you're at more mid to, you know, lower level, and you want to rent out like banquet halls and banquet rooms and things like that. The expense is a lot cheaper, and then now you start advertising it where it's a lot cheaper to sell the tickets, and you still have people in an area that, okay, $20, $12 versus $20. They could, chances are, Poo Ninja, if those tickets were $12 to $15, they might have sold a little more. But see, they cannot afford to go that cheap. Because maybe the venue, and then the insurance and everything. There's a lot that is involved. But a lot of musicians they frown down on the fact that if someone tells them, why don't you rent out a room at, let's say, a Holiday Inn, you know, a banquet room, or a banquet hall, or a like an Ambets, you know, or a Moose Lodge, and then you start thinking, oh, that's not where a music venue. No, you'd be surprised where you could start turning profits. And then when you advertise, don't always go in a music magazine. And you probably just think, well, why? You're playing music, you're trying to sell music, right? No, music magazines have a very limited demographics where they go out, when they actually go out. Whereas other magazines, they have coupons and things like that, they go everywhere. and I know it's a very, very strange, it's outside the norm for music. It's outside the norm for music, but it's not outside the norm to sell a to sell a product. And this is where you take your music and you take your craft and you turn it into, you're trying to sell a product. You become the product that you're trying to sell. You got to be a little bit smart about it, and you start to realize some of these magazines, they'll have an entertainment section, and it's cheaper to advertise in there, and their demographics, they go to twice as more places than a music magazine. We got a couple of music and entertainment magazines that don't go to all of the music stores, and that shocked me because I'm thinking, well, it's music. How come Guitar Center's not carrying it? It was very bizarre. But you go to somewhere else, you got a magazine like I know this sounds crazy, guys. But see, down here, we got a lot of seniors. We got a lot of seniors that are rockers. So we advertise in the senior magazine. Now our demographics is a lot wider, plus the different styles of music that I play. It could appeal to a more broader audience, and these people have money. So see, there is ways you could do this. Sometimes you have to step outside that norm and just step back and take a good look. What is it you're trying to sell? Go ahead and grab it. A lot of these are free magazines. Grab a free, for instance, a free senior magazine. Start looking through it, and you start realizing, hey, they got an entertainment section. Now, you're going to see a lot of older entertainments. And that's only because they still have the mindset that us rockers are not getting older. We are getting older. And our style of music is starting to hit into the vintage or the classic. That's why it's called classic rock. And like I said, there's a lot of people that are older, our age and older, that they grew up on Black Sabbath. They grew up on a lot of that stuff. Judas Priest. Yngwie's in his 50s. Steve Vai's in his 50s. Next time you see a YouTube video concert and they pan through the audience, notice how many people in that audience that have started to lose their hair. And it's not because they cut it. Take a good look, and that's going to tell you that we're starting to age. Our style of music is starting to age, but we're still very active. And my point is that for people who would like to take this chance and maybe do this with their music, make sure you have enough money aside that you can do this. So instead of buying another, expensive guitar and expensive amp that you really don't need, that same money you could put it toward doing a show, even if it's on a smaller scale, and then maybe turning a profit and seeing how that goes. Because that's what these people are doing. They're renting out these places and they have a management, but somebody's paying that money. Somebody's paying for the tour. Somebody's paying for the equipment to get from point A to point B. Somebody's renting out the arenas, because those are nothing but a building that's going to sit there. If they're not going to have a concert, they're going to have a sporting event. They're going to have something. They're going to have some sort of classic car show. They need to rent those places out because it's property city. Same way with the banquet rooms. So there's ways you could start capitalizing on it. And maybe this is something that would actually help benefit the local music community. Because I remember, like a lot of you will remember, back in the day, you'd go out, and if you played in a band, you'd only do a handful of covers, if that. And most of it was originals, and people were going out to see the bands play. Zach would play a Gibson. Yeah, he would. he would. You know what I mean? Now, how many times have you've heard people say, "Oh yeah, but they made their money. See, they're rich." How do you really know they're rich? Well, look at their lifestyle. Yeah. So when you see pictures that they got the Maserati, they got a Bentley, they got a Porsche, they got a Ferrari, and they got a whole collection of classic guitars and old amps, that costs money. So let's say they're worth $4 million, but then they spend $2.5 million. So how much are they really? And let's say they're not as active playing, and they don't have a side business to float the boat. The money runs out. Ed Dana, what's happening? You've been here an hour and a half. And I didn't realize that. I didn't mean to go that long. I checked out your live stream, Ed. I gotta check out. I think Guitar Meets Science went live too. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you just saw it. Yeah. You know what? It's hard for me to do these notifications on this thing because this phone's been acting really, really weird, man. Like I told my friend Jim yesterday when we were watching the show at Busch Gardens, his iPhone, the screen was going dead. He's trying to take pictures. He can't. I said to him, I says, Jim, this is my beef with this technology. And then they'll say it's operator error. Well, of course it's operator error. I don't get instructions. Of course I don't know. If you give me instructions, then maybe I'll be able to operate it. I mean, how hard does this have to be? So his phone doesn't work. He's got an iPhone on top of it. I told him, anytime technology is sometimes it's going to work, yeah, and sometimes not. That means it doesn't work. That's why I don't, we don't sell everything and just rely 100% on YouTube for income, because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it changes. Do we still have Google Hangouts? I don't know. You see, whenever that's that type, to me, I don't rely on it. I can't. You know what I mean? Yeah. Usually 3. Yeah, Guitar Meets Science. Are you in the West Coast? I can't remember exactly where you're at. I think you did mention exactly where you're at. I know Ed's up in Ohio, at Dana. And yeah, yesterday, Ed, last night, man, it was a little chilly when we were out walking around in Busch Gardens, and it was raining a little, and I'm like, they got the roller coasters going, people are on the roller coaster, it's raining. I'm waiting for that thing to fall off the tracks, and boom, right in front of us. Because how they have these roller coaster rides, you walk through the park, and then the tracks will come here, and they'll go over your head, and then you walk, and they'll go underneath where you walk. I mean, it's pretty cool how the park is set up. Yeah, it's you know what, Ed? It's 9:30 down here too. You're on Eastern time. Yep, we're on Eastern time. So, yeah, I agree with you, Ed, about yet another demo now on wireless systems. I haven't watched any of them, and I'm not going to, mention any names that it sounds like I'm out to bash them, but the only thing my beef is, if these people are going to tell you how wonderful some of this stuff works, why don't they show when it doesn't work and FCC is cutting you off because they're changing things? I don't know if they've ever experienced it. I have, right in the middle of one of our shows, and it wasn't a cheap wireless system we had. We paid about $800 for that Sennheiser, and the range, yeah, it was long. You'd go long. But I thought I was having a problem with my output jack. Not on this guitar, but on another guitar. And next thing you know, man, I find out it's the wireless. Yeah, roller coasters in the rain. Oh, I was not on that roller coaster. Jim, he got on. He got on the one that it'll go up and it'll spin as you're riding. It'll turn, you go down backwards. Now you're riding down backwards. But they had this one that you go up, and literally the drop is like this, fast too, and then it'll come up. Yeah. Yeah, it is good stuff. They really are at Dana. Sennheiser makes great stuff. I mean, you cannot go wrong with them. And the only problem I had, it wasn't because of their quality. It was merely that FCC was changing the bandwidth, and it was right in the middle of the show, and we did not get the email saying that, hey, we'll give all our customers a $50 coupon to apply it to another system because they're going to change. So, okay, maybe we didn't do enough research to watch what's happening. You know, hey, guess what, guys? Tomorrow or this weekend, if you're using this bandwidth, we're going to shut it down, so get prepared for it. Yeah, Guitar Meets Science. Yeah, it was very eerie watching these roller coasters. I mean, literally dip down like this and come up like that, man, in the rain. I'm like, I ain't getting on it. No way. You see, I also drive. I also, professionally. And if something were to happen, I get sick, I hurt myself, and I won't be able to work, man. If anything that triggers something, my equilibrium would go off, or something like that, I'd be pretty much screwed. That's why it's, just how it is. But now getting back to what Ed Dana said about the Sennheisers, yeah. But you got all these people with their advice. And everyone's entitled to their opinion. That's not, I have no problems with opinions. And opinions sometimes, they do need to be looked at. But it's when they want to tell you something that's factual and they're in a room, they're not doing anything. How do they know? Well, someone told me that someone said this. Why don't you get your ass out and do it yourself? Then you tell me. Because I could tell you right now what will work and what won't work. What has for us. And with that being said, just because something happened to us doesn't mean it's going to happen to you. Okay, we have good luck using a Digitech. But maybe you guys won't have good luck with it. I love our Fender Hot Rod Deluxe George Benson model. Man, nothing like a tube amp, man. I love that Fender sound. But does it mean someone else is going to like it? And they might buy the exact same amp and they might have problems with it too. So I always keep that door open. But some of these people I've noticed on these channels, they're going to want to tell you something that's factual, and it's almost like they're the only ones with an answer. It's like, no, you're not the only one. I'm not the only one with an answer. I can only tell you what I've gone through, and that was my experience. But that's why that's why I said a lot of those channels I don't watch, because they kind of bore me. If I want to see something, I like watching people demo stuff, because I'll get some sort of an idea. But I could tell you until I'm blue in the face the comfort that this guitar is for me. And if you like that flat neck, and if you're used to playing a classical guitar, a wide fretboard, yeah, you'll get used to it. But nothing is going to beat the experience of you going to the music store, you picking up the guitar yourself and playing it. Nothing's going to beat that. Nothing's going to beat you plugging into something and testing it out yourself to pull your sound, what you like out of it. Now, I seen one guy, and it's just because the way he was set up on stage. I get it. But if you want to do a true demo on an amp live, and let's say you're doing it with either camera or your phone, how it's really going to sound, stick that amp back a little bit and let it come through the mix of the drums and bass and keyboard sound. So if I were to put this amp right here, and if I had drums and bass over there, well, of course they're going to hear the amp because it's right here. Let's see what it's going to sound like behind the bass and the drums, because that's reality. See, that's what I mean. It's almost like a half reality. It's not the full picture. They are just, yeah, that's like, yep. Yeah, it is. It's paid endorsements at this point. And that's fine. But that ain't how it really is. And of course you know that, Ed. You go out there and you play. You know what it's like. And of course they don't tell you what happens when stuff breaks down and then you gotta call customer service and you get a recording. And if someone does pick it up, you can't understand what they're saying. You know what I mean? Yep, in the real world. That's it, Guitar Meets Science. And it's, again, we got a great platform with YouTube. This is great because in this day and age, you do not have to buy expensive gear to do videos. And spotlight your talent and make connections with people. Because this was great. You'll have more of a chance meeting with other people worldwide on YouTube, even though it's virtual reality, than in some club. Who's going to come flying from California or some other place, and they're going to take you to their, those days it's different. It's very, very different. Yeah, a studio demo doesn't seem like a... Yeah, Ed. No, it doesn't, man. Yeah, that's right. Guitar Meets Science, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, and then everything's post-production. That's not what it sounds like. Stick your phone by it and let's see what it really sounds like. And then meanwhile with like the rain in the background, because that's how it really is. That's why when I was doing all those live streams with our live gigs, I had no problem sticking that phone and having people see exactly what I see. And then for some people, they might look at it, yeah, but Dave, that's gonna make you look like you're a small time guy. No, I want people to see what's really happening out there before they do something stupid and quit their jobs and take a second mortgage on their house. And next thing you know, they find out how screwed up things really are out there. You know, you always give it the way it really is, man. That's how you're gonna really help people. Not fake it all up, Yeah, a studio demo doesn't. No, it isn't. And again, they serve the purpose, and that's fine. But I've seen some of these videos where they try to get on a factual thing, and it's like, buddy, you've been in that room too long, man. You need to get out there a little bit. With that expensive stuff, you see, they'll never do that. Because then they don't want to make it look like, okay, and there's nothing wrong with making a mistake, but they don't want to make it look like they made a mistake. We all make mistakes. Guitar Meets Science, I see. Yeah, he is, Ed. Guitar Meets Science. He's got. I don't want to call it hybrid picking, but there's only one other guy I seen. I think his name is Tom Quayle, that does demos, and yeah, he's also a performer of the Dawson's YouTube channel, and he's got that, which is really unique because if you have to do anything arpeggiated, or you need to do any type of a scale run that's gonna skip strings, that technique, man, is perfect. It is absolutely perfect. And it sounds smooth. It doesn't sound, you know what I mean? But you see, this is what I mean. This is so great with YouTube. We all have our own niches and things that make all of us, unique in our own way. And it's not one's better than the other, but when you put it as a whole, it makes it enjoyable. Because if everyone played the same out there, it was like, and I do agree with a lot of you out there. I don't really watch a whole lot of shred videos. Because it's like, okay, I can only take so much of a bazillion notes thrown at me. And if you notice, some of these notes that are thrown at you, there's no expression in between. There's no like, I really meant to play that. You know what I mean? It's just to show you that you can play fast. That's why I like having, playing notes solid. To me, melody and speed bursts, they coexist. Because I can't sing worth a crap, I gotta make the guitar sing, So I have to do something melodic. Yeah, my channel should be called Guitar Meets Science. I'll tell you what, Ed, we love watching your channel because it's so real. And man, you were spot on when you mentioned about Radio Shack and those wireless mics, man. I remember those. And we like the way that's how you saved money during Black Friday by staying the F home. That's exactly what it is, man. You don't spend money if you don't have to. Yeah, no problem, Ed. Yeah, Deb and I were checking it out. We were like, yeah, he's spot on. And the same way with Guitar Meets Science. I think we said this once before. And it's not to mock anybody or anything, but isn't it strange? You don't have to be a super shredder to be good. So a good musician is someone that sounds good. They're enjoyable to listen to. But even if you're just playing chords and melodies, but you do it very flawlessly and very musically, it's almost as if in certain communities, certain groups of people, you get ousted because you're good. Well, wait a minute. Am I supposed to come up and do everything horrible, and then I'm accepted, and then have expensive gear, and then I'm no, man. Just always be true to yourself. Yeah, guitar music sings. Yeah, right? Yeah, his guitar playing is great, man. It's just totally awesome. Yeah, you know. Yeah, see, that's another thing. Ed Dana puts up, I like watching the rehearsal videos, the performance videos. This is how it really is, man. People who do because I like performing, I like watching people play. And then when people got something very interesting to say, and it doesn't always have to be music related, because again, a lot of videos we've been watching lately are about RVs, what's been happening in the RV world, its evolution and changes. Deb used to camp when she was younger in the 70s. So we have that interest that's going to help us out, later. But I think what it is maybe I'm so burnt out on these demo videos, and it's like, how many times are you going to rearrange a distortion pedal, If you take the same distortion pedal, or a few of them that do stand out, and you run them through an EQ, you're going to change the tone anyway. So it's like, how far can this go? Now those covers that you're doing, that's some classic stuff, man. What you guys are doing, I guarantee you come down here and do it, you'd get a lot of work. You guys would get a lot of work. Because those are what I call the forgotten classics. I mean, they're so enjoyable to watch that you could take a break from a lot of, even if you're a rocker or a metalhead of our age, you're going to remember those songs. It's like a breath of fresh air. Because everyone and their mother wants to do either a Beatles song, Rolling Stones song, it's always something that's popular. And then the next band tries to outdo that band with the same songs. There's no uniqueness anymore. Yeah. And a lot of those people, and I agree, they got screwed out of those deals, man. They got so screwed out of those deals, it's sad. Oh, yeah, and that's what Mike had said. My singer Mike, he said he doesn't even want to even hear that song anymore, Sweet Home Alabama. Not that it's not a good song. It's just that Freebird and a lot of others, it's overplayed. You got to take a break from it. And it's nothing to do with that. It's not a good song. That about being able to play even the simple stuff. Yeah, it is. It really is, because this is what happens. It's kind of a wrong message for younger kids to only look at flash. Because that's only, see, what they don't realize, when you go to a show, how could you sit for 2 plus hours of nothing but flash? And it's not, oh, you're pooped out, you need a break. No, music is like a reflection of life. That's what the most successful bands and the most interesting shows are, the ones that take you through this little journey. You know what I mean? It's like if you go to see the World Series, of course you want your team to win. But if everyone is hitting home a grand slam, and after a while, there's no more excitement. It's already done. That's it. I gotta see something here. I missed something. Yeah, no, thank you so much, you know. Um, I guess it's because the music I was brought up on as well. And I was never, I mean, I was a partial to a lot of the shred guitar, don't get me wrong. But I remember the stuff before when we had AM radio. I mean, it gets to the point where when you pick up the guitar, isn't it enjoyable or does it always have to be a challenge? You know? Let's see, yeah. Let's see. That's right. It's recycling the same old stuff. Oh yeah, and yeah, it is a great song, "Sweet Home Alabama." It's a great song, but it's again, like you said, they had other songs. How come they don't play those? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Brown Eyed Girl. It's getting to the point, guys, where even the people that are non-musicians, like when they come down here, Jimmy Buffett. How about Warren Buffett? Let's see what Warren Buffett's got. You know what I mean? It's so burnt out. And now that's why I see ads for some of these places. They'll do trivia night, murder mystery train, and that because they're trying to these club owners are trying to find anything. You know. Yeah, I think EJ's guitar, or he did a guitar challenge. Let's see. How many times it was? Oh yeah, Dana says. Yeah, you know what? That's right. Now, when I was when we were doing a lot of the covers and a lot of the clubs out there, I would, as much as I can, try to feature everyone's music out there. Let's see. I think, dug it up, made a commercial. The brawl. Yeah, the blues brawl. Yeah. I have that's in book one. No, and I like you what you guys are doing now. But your other stuff you're doing was great too. I loved when you guys also did the record Edmund Fitzgerald. That's such a classic song, man. That whole era was like one of the best times for music because back then you didn't have bands that were trying to sound like each other. They were trying to sound unique in their own right. It was like a lot of the classic cars. Each car had its own shape, its own design. You know what I mean? Now it's like everybody wants to be, they want to do the same song over, and they want to try to outdo each other, or play the same shredding, or the same sweeping. It's not that I don't like how it. It's not that I don't like how it's done. It's overdone. Yeah, I have a soft spot for '60s vocal groups. Yeah, that helps, man. And plus, Ed, you mentioned about doing like the wineries. We've done quite a few winery gigs. The winery gigs I like because you're still gonna have people like in the classics, but you're not gonna get that overly wild drunken crowd, man. That's oh my god, I can't deal with that. They come up to you, they smell bad because they're all drunk and they're spilling their beer, and you got your effect pedals. And it's sorry, dude. Meanwhile, they just destroyed something, and they'll say, "Oh, about you're rich," They always seem that we're no one. A musician's steak is a hot dog. Metal, thrash metal, and fun riffs. What's happening, man? Yeah, it is the rain. Yep, it's been raining basically all day. We left our hotel earlier today from Tampa, and we were going through the park at Busch Gardens. It was raining. It started raining when we were standing in line for one of the shows. And then one of the restaurants we ate at, we just finished our meal and something happened. The fire alarm was going off and everyone had to evacuate. Oh, Ed, you're 60. The other guitar player? Oh, he's 69. Wow. We can argue over who's going to play lead. Yeah. Isn't it interesting? At some point in life, the stuff that we thought was the most important thing becomes like the least important thing. And we just want to get out there and play and just have fun. Who cares if you're doing a sweep in arpeggio, at 178 beats per minute, doing all 16th or 32nd notes. Yeah, metal years. Yeah, you play it. No, you play it, yeah. It gets to the point where, I guess what happens is, if you've already done all that, you've done all that, and it's not that it's not important, it's just that you don't always need that spotlight, you know what I mean? Or you don't always need that. It feels good to do the backdrop thing, you know? Yeah, you know what? Maybe it's a thrash metal. Maybe it's because I just like, I never drank alcohol. I never really did any hard drugs or anything. So I've always been hyper. And we didn't have Ritalin and all this other crap. And you just run around and get it out of your system, man. You know what I mean? So it's always been like that. And then having that type of hyperness and applying it to, the speed playing, it makes, see, this is what I do like about metal. It's excitement, but everything's got to have that balance. So that's why I'm very, very thankful that I grew up in the era that I did, because I have a little bit of this and I have a little bit of that. I have the blues clubs here, got the jazz clubs here, and mix everything together, and it's just something that just worked out. Yeah, it is. Having that second guitar in the band, it does take a lot of stress off. Oh yeah, so on the guitar, I still do that. I gotta get another wireless system. Yeah. The trick is, as you guys know, is I don't use strap locks. It's these washers bolting them on. One day I'll show my Mexican-made Fender Strat. It's cream color with a maple neck. With the strap locks, but I did not fill the holes in tight enough. I went to throw the guitar and it crashed right in the concrete, so it got all cracked up. So it was relicked, without me intending it to be relicked. But see, I'll do stuff like that when it's moments of excitement. When it's stuff that's subtle, I'll lay back and let really the deep playing, But it's a lot of fun being able to do that stuff. And then when I play at that fancy restaurant, which is no longer there, Le Corte. I miss that place, man. I'd sit back, do a lot of the classical guitar playing, classic jazz stuff, Barbra Streisand, The Way We Were, instrumental, you know what I mean? And then do a little bit of Smoke on the Water, some of the metal stuff on the acoustic, but knowing where that pivot point is, because it's a different clientele, they don't want anything too, outrageous. Now the gig we do have coming up in January, it's going to be a little bit more laid back. But they already paid the deposit. And we didn't even solicit them. They found us. They were looking for us. And I was like, okay, this is cool. Yeah. I tried to flip my guitar once. And I won't do it with a Les Paul. I sent a Les Paul copy flying last time I did it. Yeah, it's gotta be like real lightweight, Otherwise, I'll tell you what, when stuff like that happens, it just becomes part of the show. It's embarrassing, yeah, but it's just part of the show. So I don't know how any of you guys feel about this, but everyone makes mistakes. It's how you recover from that mistake. So the worst thing to do is announce to everyone that you made a mistake. It's not that you're trying to be better than anyone. You're doing a performance. And when people start spending money for a performance, the last thing they want is a lecture and a downer. You know, no one wants to hear about A minor 7 flat in the 3rd, sharp in the 11th, or augmented the 13th. Who cares? They wanted to have a good time. They worked all week. They could give a crap about how much you think you know or how much you say you know. Just perform, play, and I'll be the judge. That's how it is. Unless you're going to do a lecture. Now you step up your game on music theory. I had this situation so many times that I just let them talk. And I still say, here's my notes within the chord. I have C, I have E, I have B, I have D, and I have an open E. Whatever the hell you want to call it, that's fine. But low pitch to high pitch, those are the notes within the chord. I give a damn what anyone wants to say. And I'm not trying to be combative, you know, but people will they'll waste like for a rehearsal. When you rent these rehearsal rooms, 3 hours minimum, they'll use that whole space, that whole time when they're supposed to be rehearsing for a show. They want to show you how smart they are. If they're really that smart, they would dumb me up and know I only got 3 hours to get the material done, so we could go out and do a performance. I could care less if you only know it as that. But as long as you're playing the right chord, then after the show and after all that, now we could sit down and I could help you with music theory if you want to learn it. You know? But man, I know there's certain people. Now Rick Ramanelli, he's real good with music theory, and he explains it very well. I like his approach. And people who are like him. But there's some of these people out there, it's like, you want to sell me something, you're lucky I'm watching you for free, man. You know, well, I did this and I did that. That's fine. You're not paying my bills. You know what I mean? Let's see, I'll start with my soup. Yeah, Kid Squire. Yeah, Mini Name, yeah. And you know, the guitar flip, all it is it's show. That's all it is. It looks stupid if you're playing it at something that's real subtle, you know. The moment is subtle. There's no excitement, and it's meant to draw you in. And this guy's, I mean, it looks stupid. If I did half of what I do with the rock shows and metal shows with all that, if I'm doing it real subtle, it looks stupid. That's why I don't do it. You gotta know how to fold them. You gotta know how to do it, man, when it's required. Yeah, the starter guitar. Usually when I make a mistake, it involves getting up. Yeah, I hear you, Ed. Yeah, she won it in a raffle for... Wow. 8 o'clock. I turn into a pumpkin. Gotta head out. No problem, guys. I'm getting ready to head out myself, man. I've been on like way too long. I get going and I don't know when to shut my mouth. I gotta learn how that. There's an off button somewhere. Alright, my friends. I'll probably do like a Christmas video. Little, you know, classical guitar thing. But yeah, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas out there. And for everyone who didn't get a chance to, you know, join in, don't worry about it, man. I'm going to leave this video up. I don't think I got any drop-offs. I get weird. It's just the way the house is laid out. Maybe it's what happens. But, yeah, my friends. Anyways, we're going to head on out. Great talking with everybody. Yeah, C major 7. Oh, look at this. Yeah. And, hope you guys, yeah, sub to each other, everyone. And you know, just because we can't watch everyone's channel all the time. There's only 24 hours in a day. You guys are totally awesome, man. Thank you so much, guys. Anyways, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you on the next video. You guys take care. Rock on. Merry Christmas, and God bless. Take care, guys. Thank you, Ed. Tell Linda we said hi too, man. God bless you guys. Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.